over the last couple of months, I've noticed something. Whenever I set a goal, let's say I want to quit eating junk food, right? Every single time I relapse on it. I go for 3 days, I don't eat it, and on the fourth day, I go back to it. Let's say I want to say I don't want to go on my phone, right? For the first couple of days, I have pretty good, screen time under 2 or 3 hours. And then that fourth day comes and I go back for 6 or 7 hours. And I've noticed one thing about it. But before we get into that, I want you to scroll down, click the top link in the description. It's a community that I've created of young men just like me and you. And it's for free, by the way. You can just join and yeah, just scroll down and just click that link. But anyways, back to the video. I've noticed that every single time I do the bad habit is when it's around me. Now that seems pretty obvious, right? But I want you to I'm gonna give you an example, right? So a couple of days ago, there was like a meeting at my workplace, right? And basically about a bunch of food and like junk food and snacks and stuff like that, right? So the first half an hour, I didn't eat anything, right? I told my friends I'm not gonna eat this, I didn't eat it. Next hour, I didn't eat anything. It's pretty good. I might have had a little snack, but whatever, right? But that second hour hits, and that temptation just snaps out of me and I just eat, right? The next day I gained 3 or 4 pounds. It's water weight, but I still gained weight. And the next day I felt like shit because of all the seed oils and the weird shit in it, right? But that's an example of what I'm talking about. My willpower for the first, let's say there's a willpower I don't know, scale or whatever, right? The first half an hour I didn't eat anything, so my willpower kind of went down a little bit, right? I drained it just a little bit. The next the other half an hour, yep, and eventually got to 0 where I don't have any more willpower. The smells are too good. I hear the rappers I hear the rappers noise. I hear people eating, blah, blah. I just gave up, right? I just relapsed. So basically kind of the moral of that story is whenever something is near you, right? Whenever you could hear it's in your environment, you're gonna relapse. Let's say you're trying to quit weed, right? And every single time you go out with your friends who smoke weed at that certain time, you're never gonna quit it, right? Maybe for the first 5 minutes of hanging out with them, you'll stay away from it. But then eventually, when you see everybody having fun and everybody's high, you're gonna relapse back to it. And that's kind of just a simple willpower 101, right? Or let's say you're trying to quit junk food, but every single day in your house, in your kitchen, you have a bunch of snacks, a bunch of pizza. Your brothers are ordering out, blah, blah. You might quit it for the first day, but then after that, you're gonna relapse. So what you have to do is clear your environment of these bad habits or of these things you want to quit. Let's say you want to be a businessman or something, right? It's kind of the opposite of what I was saying before. But let's say you want to be a businessman. Include things in your, in your room or whatever that help with that. Or let's say you want to quit something, in your room or your house or whatever, but things that also help you with it, right? So set up your environment in a way of success. But the other thing is, that's kind of the first part. But the other part is, if you don't have the discipline, let's say you clear your environment of everything, right? But that means that every single time there is something, you're not going to have the discipline or the willpower for you to not eat it, right? So let's say you're trying to eat, quit junk food, right? So in your house, you have no more junk food. But in your workplace or with your friend's house or whatever, there's junk food. If you don't have discipline, you're just going to, eat it, right? And you're going to relapse that way. So what I'd say to do is just kind of have a little piece of chocolate or a little piece of candy or whatever in your house, right? And clear everything out. So discipline could be leveled up little bits by bits. Small discipline actions over time will add up, right? So what you could do is over time, just keep a little candy here or a little whatever your bad vice or whatever, just hanging out there, right? And every single time you walk by, it's kind of a +1 on your discipline level, right? So over time you'll build up the discipline and you'll clear your environment of these bad habits, which will in turn make you successful in the long run.